sideways, holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through the other side. Yellow flags like warning signs, but I ain't falling for their lines. Got nerves of steel, a shaky hand. This ain't a game, it's fight or land. Saw that 18 catch the wall, 21 spun, took out them all. But somehow I found the lane, like Moses through that fire and rain. Yeah, I thread the needle, dodge the flame. Every pileup calling my name. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through the other side. No checkered flag, no champagne rain, but I kept it clean through the carnage and pain. One more lap, one more breath, a dance with danger, a race with death. Still I thread the needle, feel the flame. Every turn's a twist of fate's game. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, out of chaos into light. No first place, but man, I ride with fire still burning inside. Yeah, I thread the needle in this wild racing ride. Strapped in tight, green lights flashing, rubbers burning, hearts are clashing, tires screaming that southern heat. 200 strong on the NASCAR beat. Lap 5 wreck on turn 4. Smoke so thick can't see the door, but somehow I slip right through like a ghost in red, white, and blue. 'Cause I thread the needle, dodge the flame. Every pileup calling my name. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through the other side. Yellow flags like warning signs, but I ain't falling for their lines. Got nerves of steel, a shaky hand. This ain't a game, it's fight or land. Saw that 18 catch the wall, 21 spun, took out them all. But somehow I found the lane, like Moses through that fire and rain. Yeah, I thread the needle, dodge the flame. Every pileup calling my name. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the final night of the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series right here on Thursday night. Tonight, I'm going to be your host, Brandon Massey, alongside me in the booth. My commentary partner, Russ Martin Jr. Russ, how we feeling tonight? Because tonight, we do the absolute most favorite thing that we can do in an entire season. Tonight, Russ, we're crowning a champion.
Yeah, man, I got my best tuxedo T-shirt on and ready to get this race at Pocono underway.
I am too, where tonight we are going to be live right here at Pocono, the Tricky Triangle. I can tell you, Russ, we've seen some of it in the chat already. A lot of these guys shifting using fourth gear primarily through all three corners of the racetrack and even the short chute around the bus stop. And then only shifting into fifth down that very long straightaway here at Pocono.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of something that has kind of seemed to become the norm with these next gen cars. I mean, a lot of guys they don't like having to shift in the corners, but I mean, downshifting into fourth at a lot of these tracks now, it really helps with the rotation of the car and helps you save a little bit of tire. And just kind of staying in fifth will sometimes really bog the car down, and you'll lose so much speed, so much time through these corners that downshifting just is optimally the best option for you.
And we're going to see a lot of that shifting. We know that their fuel strategies have been talked about. We know these drivers can get around 20, 25 laps. I suspect that they're going to break it down into maybe a 20-ish type of breakdown here tonight. Russ, what do you think the fuel strategy is going to be?
I mean, I think we might see a little bit of a mix of things here tonight. I mean, like you said, roughly about 20 laps. I mean, you can stretch it in the draft a little bit. This is one track that you can definitely, again, save fuel with the draft at. And I mean, we got 60 laps here tonight, so you could easily come in at lap 20, at lap 40, and then make it to the end. Or you could try to stretch it a little bit and maybe give yourself a little bit of a tire advantage on that final run. Maybe coming at 25, 50, and then leaving yourself a 10-lap dash at the end with those fresh tires where everything is on the line and you don't have to save anything.
So tonight we're going to crown a champion, right? And we pretty much know who that champion's going to be, Russ. And as we take a look at the points, it's going to be Christopher Pendell. All he should have to do is take the green flag and log one lap.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a 16-point lead right now over Curtis Ecker in second. I don't think there's enough guys here for it to make any bit of a difference. Like you said, he could start and park here tonight and still walk away the champion. But I mean, looking outside of that, the battle's not over from second to about fifth place in points. I mean, we still got a battle there. Only about 10 to 13 points separating second and fifth right now. So definitely still some spots to be made up in these point standings.
And there is several spots to be made up, right? I mean, when we look at the points, you've got Ecker, Teff, Gates, Wayne Scott, and even Truth Oak. Now, Truth Oak is a little bit behind Wayne Scott, but even then, there is a potential for at least second through fifth to flip-flop those positions. So, while be it, I believe Ecker has about a 6-point advantage over top of Teff right now. There's enough drivers signed in that where very well could change as the night plays on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially, if and I'm going to say right now, I don't know why. I just know these certain type of tracks suits this guy really well. But Andrew Teff is going to be my pick to win here tonight. But you have to look at those 3 extra bonus points too for winning the race. So if Teff goes out and wins the race, that right now there's only a 5-point buffer between him and Curtis Ecker in second. That only gives Curtis the benefit of finishing 2 spots behind Teff down the track, which means he wouldn't be able to finish worse than third to be able to hold on to that second place points spot. So there's definitely still a lot of variables, in this point system between second, third, even fourth and fifth.
There is a lot of variables that can go into how this race plays out tonight, and with how the points shake out. Excuse me, I got the hiccups for some reason, Russ. I don't know what's going on. Holy. All right, let's get into a schedule, but it doesn't have anything to do with this season. It has everything to do with the next season, right? So when we take a look at the next season, we're going to be starting on October 30th, and we're going to Kentucky. Oh gosh, there it is again, Russ. And then from there, we're going to leave Kentucky. We're going to go to Las Vegas, Chicagoland, Watkins Glen, and then we're going to be off and then into the December part of the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, one thing with Racers Elite, between seasons, they only take a week off and then they kick it right back up again. So, like I said, we got that off week there for Thanksgiving on the 27th. Then we're right back at it in December, going to Gateway Auto Club in Pocono, where we're at right now. Then we're off for 2 weeks again next season there for Christmas and New Year's, and then back at it at Atlanta for the season finale for the regular season, and then starts the chase again. And next season we got New Hampshire, Kansas, Talladega, and the season finale is going to be at Charlotte, which I kind of like. That's kind of one of those tracks that I kind of would like to see NASCAR like in real life, maybe make a Charlotte race the final race of the season. I mean, I know it's kind of iffy with the weather in Charlotte, like in the November range, but usually it's still pretty good. But I think Charlotte would make a pretty good season finale race. And Racers Elite, they're doing that here next season.
Yeah, they are. And in fact, I agree. I 100% feel like that is very well going to be a really good schedule, at least here for the next gen series, right? Like the races that stand out to me in this, there's not really any, in my opinion, Russ, what I would call wild cards. The lone wild card for me, and it's not even Watkins Glen, right? Because you're going to get a road course ringer that's going to show up, and you know that's just going to be what that's going to be, right? So you just got to, you know, put a Band-Aid on and just try to get what you could get. But the lone wild card race, I feel like, would be the Talladega playoff race, January 29th. That would be the wild card race that I would pick for this series going into next season.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like you said, you know, Watkins Glen, normally, you know, Racers Elite, they run one road course throughout every season. Next season is Watkins Glen. You know, and like you said, there's always that one driver, you know, the league's own Shane Van Gisbergen that could just go out and run on the road courses. For me personally, you know, here in Racers Elite, I think that's you know, a definite possibility for a lot of these guys. I mean, I know a lot of these guys are pretty good on the road courses and stuff. So, I mean, it could really be anybody in here that could pick up that win. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Talladega, any race at Talladega or Daytona, you know, is going to be a wild card. And for that to be the race before the season finale at Charlotte is definitely a wild card.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other race that could potentially be a wild card is the Atlanta race that ends the regular season, right? So we know it's going to be the 2022 style. We know that repave was done not but 3 years ago. And the fact that repave was done 3 years ago means we're going to get a 1.5 mile style drafting style track on 1.5 miles at Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I kind of overlooked that one there. Yeah, I didn't realize that was the 2022. I mean, it holds just as much, you know, now it holds just as much of a plate track style repertoire, I guess, if you will. So, I mean, it definitely can be another one of those wild card races. And then being the regular season finale, I mean, it could make or break somebody trying to race their way into the playoffs. So, absolutely, Atlanta could be another wild card.
So a couple wild card races, race fans, that me and Russ is picking at least for next season, heading into season 9 here at Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series. So, yeah, enough about next season, though. Let's talk about tonight. We've talked a little bit about it, though, Russ, and we know for sure only what, 12, 13, 14, 15 cars signed in. That means that Christopher Pendell has pretty much locked up the championship, and should be crowning him champion here at the end of this 60 laps.
You know, there's, like you said, you know, not quite enough drivers for Curtis to be able to make much ground on him here tonight. I mean, short of a win and a catastrophe and about 5 extra drivers showing up. Yeah, it's all but, you know, said but done. But you know, Chris has had an absolutely unbelievable season this year, picking up 3 wins there in the regular season. Picked up the win there last week. Definitely solidifying his stance as this season's Cup Series champion. And you know, like I told him last week, well deserved. Such an improvement from where he was last year. And the same thing for Curtis Eckert. You know, you and I were talking before the race started, or before we went live here, and I found it kind of funny how the 2 drivers that, you know, I said earlier on in the season that I felt were going to be the most improved from this season to last season were Curtis Secker and Christopher Pendel. And here in the final race of the season at Pocono, it's Christopher Pendel and Curtis Secker, the top two in the points. So, I mean, great season by both of these guys. Nonetheless, so much improvement this season from last season. And I just can't say enough about these two guys. Both deserve of this championship, but Chris Pendel looks like is going to be your champion here for the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series this year.
So with that, let's get into the starting grid, Russ, and we'll just split the field, and I'll take the top 8, and you can take the bottom half. But starting on pole is going to be the driver of the number 5, Brandon Poffenbarger. Starting outside pole is going to be the driver of the number 55, is going to be Truth Hoke. Starting third, driving the number 15, out of the Driving Extreme Incorporated camp, is going to be Kinsley Smith. Starting in the 4th position, our current P2 in points, driving the number 8 out of Chicken Coop Racing, is going to be Curtis Secker. Starting 5th, driving the number 98 as well out of the Chicken Coop Racing camp, it's going to be Andrew Teft. Starting 6th, driving the number 10 out of the Chicken Coop Racing camp, it's going to be Kirby Wainscott. Starting 7th, driving the number 77, it's going to be Alex Gates. Starting 8th, driving the number 3 out of Misfits Racing is going to be Troy Thomas.
Starting in 9th is going to be the number 4 there, Dennis Kane. Ira Kohlhaas in the 81 there is going to start P10. Barry Nelson, the 28 is going to roll off in P11. Aaron Marquis there in the 41 is going to roll off in P12. Your Season 8 Cup Series champion, Christopher Pendel in 94, not taking any chances. He's just going to ride in the back, it looks like, for right now, and make sure he logs those laps. He's going to start there in 13th. In the 192 there, Timothy Isbrand in the going to roll off in 14th, and rounding out the field here, the 711 is going to be Trevor Fettig.
And that will be your 213 Simware starting grid. So the drivers are logged in. They're strapped up. Brandon Puffenbarger is going to bring them down to start this race. And real quick, Russ, I'm gonna pull up some race info. We're gonna take a quick look at it for the race fans at home right now. 70 degrees is the temperature outside. 32% relative humidity, partly cloudy with a track tip of only 74 degrees at the moment. Russ, you've made your pick. You said Andrew Teft. I'm going back with my guy in the 8 car, man. I'm taking Curtis Secker. He didn't let me down a couple of weeks ago. He ain't gonna let me down this week, Russ.
Hey man, you know, we each got to win here, and you know, this will be the deciding one. See if one of us can take a 2 finish this season off, or if we're going to go in the next season still tied. The 8 car Curtis Ecker, definitely not a bad pick, and we'll see how he plays out for you tonight.
And the iRacing pace truck takes that hard left-hand turn. That turns the control over to Brandon Puffenbarger, in which now the green flag is out, and we are underway for the final race of the season. 60 laps, Russ, here at the Tricky Triangle.
That inside line had a pretty good start. Truth Hoke there on the outside got a really good start there, but the rest of that outside line not quite getting going very well on the start going into turn 1.
They have not got a good start, did the outside line. I just got word from race control that we had one driver start from the pits. He goes by the name of Ira Kohlhaas, and I ain't going to read you what he sent me in a text message, Russ, but let's just say when you have to go to the bathroom, you got to go to the bathroom. A Hoke all over the back end of the 5 car.
Man, I know that feeling all too well. I had that happen to me the other night. I was in the middle of a race, and I had to come in the pits about halfway through and make a little pit stop myself, so I know that all too well.
Right now, the 15 of Kinsley Smith and his Mean Bean Java machine right there. What a beautiful paint scheme he's brought here tonight. Battling Curtis Ecker right now. Ecker's lost some ground to Hoke, to Puffenbarger, but right now is riding 4th, solidly inside the top 5, followed by Wainscott.
Yeah, Kinsley's always got those good paints. You know, he's got his own little paint shop there, and he always comes out rocking some pretty nice looking schemes. But I see that 10 car making a little bit of a move on the 98.
Yeah, the 10 has been able to get around Andrew Teft. You can see Andrew in that number 98 McDonald's themed Racers Elite Ford. Alex Gates, Troy Thomas right behind him is going to be Dennis Kane just some distance behind, and what will be series champion in the 94, Christopher Pendel. And right now, the only thing he wants to do is just log laps and get to the finish.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's got nothing to lose by fighting super hard out there. So keep that thing clean and mean, and log those laps, and make it to the end, and pick up that that trophy.
You can see there comes Ira right there. He said, "I wish I'll read you what he said after the broadcast, Russ."
Yeah, 10-4.
So no change out front, 3 laps down. Again, this we know these drivers are going to do some heavy shifting, and we'll try to get some on board of some of these drivers to see if, in fact, the shifting is going to be taking place. But right now, Puffenberger's been one of those drivers, at least a name that I've heard a lot when he signs into these races, Russ.
Yeah, I mean, he shows up every now and again here in Racers Elite, but anytime he does, he's one of them ones that's kind of a threat to win the race. So good to see him back out here tonight, and currently starting to stretch this lead out of Truth Oak a little bit.
He is starting to stretch that lead just a little bit, but I'm going to tell you what an absolute amazing run that Truth Oak has going on right now. We know that the last couple of playoff races or chase races here in Racers Elite for Andrew Teff, for Truth Oak, has not exactly went the way that they thought they would go. And this is a great rebound and maybe a momentum builder heading into next season if you're Truth Oak.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Truth's kind of had one of those up and down seasons this year. I mean, you have those from time to time, running into some bad luck, having some unfortunate incidents happen out there. And, but this is one of those tracks that suits Truth really well. So I'm kind of not surprised to see him up here running well early on in this race. But, like you said, if he can get a strong finish here tonight at Pocono, it'd definitely be some momentum to bring in the next season when that season starts in 2 weeks.
And that is exactly, I think that's what I would want to be doing, right? Like if I was in the camp of Andrew Teff, Truth Oak, and some of those guys that had some pit road struggles or some race struggles. I mean, we know for a fact that Daytona just didn't play well for Teft and company when we went there for the playoffs. And then you can see Wayne Scott gets a little bit into the wall there. But we know that that one didn't fan out too well. And then the incident, what was it? I believe last week with Andrew, maybe even the week before, getting tied up with, I believe it was a lap car it was Auto Club, in fact, I believe. And so that was just last week. So when you look at all those things, now it's about building momentum for season 9, putting all that behind you, right? Like if you're Andrew, for me, Russ, knowing that you're defending series champion and you've had the playoffs that you had, racing now with Curtis Ecker and those guys to maybe at least lock up second, I mean, that's got to give you some momentum heading into season 9.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and then, for the guys who are kind of out of it for this season as far as the points go, I mean, they could definitely use this as a learning race too, because I mean, we're coming right back here to Pocono next season. So, this is one of those opportunities where you can try to learn to see, some things that maybe work, maybe don't work. Work on just some different things that you could put into your notebook, just like the real life Cup guys do. I mean, they're taking notes each and every week at every track that they go to, and then they're bringing them back either later in the season when they return to that track or the following season when they return to that track. So, I mean, it's definitely something that a lot of these guys really should kind of be paying attention to, knowing that we're coming right back here to Pocono next season is something that they could bring back with them and give them a really good starting block of information.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the main thing, right? Is just, getting back here, learning what you can learn tonight, and hope that there's not any major high racing update when it comes to the next gen car in Pocono. Now, we know going into the 2026 season of NASCAR, we know that they're going to be switching the motor horsepowers up to 750. Now, that's going to be on 1.5 miles or less. So there could be an update that comes with that. We may see that here on the iRacing service. I hope we do, because that would make this car a lot more fun to drive. But barring any major updates, now's the time to learn. I agree 100%, Russ. Learn, put it in the notebook. That's one thing I used to do. When I first started on iRacing, I built me a notebook. Yeah,
I mean, I tried to do the same thing. When I got started and started actually trying to race competitively, you know, I was trying to take notes of you know what my setups were, where I was running in certain, you know, parts of the track or something like that, so that when I came back to that track again, I had some sort of a starting point going into that week's practice sessions, you know. So I mean, definitely definitely not a bad idea to be taking some notes, like I said, but you know, a lot of these guys, they'll definitely be back. I mean, you know, 90% of this field, they run almost every night of the week with Racers Elite, so we know we'll see guys like Christopher Pindell, Kirby Wayne Scott, Truth Hope, Andrew Taft, Curtis Ecker. We'll see all these guys here back again next season, so absolutely something that these guys want to be doing tonight.
Yeah, and when you have a series quite like this one, right, where you know that you've raced around these guys for a long time, and we're starting to see the progression out of guys like Christopher Pindell and Curtis Ecker, right? And you know, we know Andrew and Puffenberger and Hoke and some of those guys, they all tend to run towards the front, right? It all, and a lot of these races is depending on qualifying efforts, right? Like if you can qualify decent and put yourself at, say, in the first 2 or 3 rows, then you've really positioned yourself. To me, that's about 75% of the work. The other 25% is nailing the fuel strategy and just going out and logging laps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just like you said too, you know, with iRacing's updates, you know, sometimes constantly changing from season to season in iRacing, you know, it's one of those things of, you know, what's changing versus what's going to feel the same. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's just that kind of a thing, you know.
It is that kind of a thing. That we do have a position change. In fact, Kinsley Smith has gotten around the driver of the number 8, Curtis Ecker, so moves Kinsley up to 3rd right now. Now, this is a really good showing for me out of Kinsley Smith. I'm going to tell you why. We know how good Kinsley is on plate tracks, right? We see that week in and week out every time we go to a drafting style or a plate track, right? We see that out of the 15. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of this driver right now in Kinsley Smith.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's definitely got a really good run going. I mean, running P3 right now. I mean, Kinsley, like you said, you know, we're always used to seeing him up front at those plate tracks, but you know, and even at the 1.5 miles, you know, the certain, you know, ones of those cookie cutter 1.5 miles like Vegas or Kentucky or Kansas, you know, we're used to seeing him up front. There's certain tracks that sometimes he struggles with, and I'm not sure if Pocono is really one of them, but there's always those certain tracks that, you know, you're not as comfortable in as you are at the others. But, you know, we're used to seeing Kinsley up front. So really, to me, it's no surprise seeing him up there running in P3 right now.
Yeah, it's just, to me, the Tricky Triangle is such a different facility to race at, right? Like, we know it's big. We know how fast this place can be. But we also know how flat these corners really are, right? I mean, you got that tricky turn 2 that goes over top of the tunnel that kind of upsets the race car and gets it a little bit freer, right? And so to me, these corners are somewhat flat, especially 2 and 3 more so than 1, but especially 2 and 3. So it's fast, but it's a completely different animal is the Tricky Triangle.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think back. I was reading something earlier in the year where like Pocono was designed from 3, I think it was Pocono, was designed off of 3 different tracks.
Yes.
You know, so it's like there's literally like every corner has its own characteristics because it was like built from like the stylings of 3 separate tracks put into one. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out where they got the idea for turn 4 here, because I mean, I don't think there's any track on the NASCAR schedule or in any racing that has a turn 4 quite like Pocono.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, what turn 4, right? I mean, that's
exactly what
turn 4, you know? I mean, it's its own animal. And while be it, this is by far probably my worst track. Anything flat, I struggle at personally. Martinsville, I struggle. You know, here I struggle. New Hampshire, I absolutely despise. And so the flatter tracks, I can't really get around. and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just my driving style. But this, the tricky triangle is just different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I struggle here. Anytime we come here, I mean, I've just never really been able to figure out the whole configuration to be able to, at least to be able to put down consistent laps. I mean, it's just one of those abnormal monsters that just comes out of nowhere and bites you if you're not, if you're not used to it or you're not expecting it. So definitely a very different style of track than what most people are used to seeing on a NASCAR schedule. Like you said, it's big, 2.5 miles, same size as Daytona, but its layout is completely different. It's so much flatter. You've got that tunnel turn that's just dead flat. I mean, I don't think there's hardly any banking there. So I mean, really, it's just like its own animal.
So here's some stats for you, Russ. Are you ready? So
all right, let's go.
All right, so turn 1 is 14-degree banking. It was built and designed from Trenton Speedway out of New Jersey. It's based on the 1-mile paved oval that used to host IndyCar and NASCAR races, and it had a long sweeping first turn similar to Poconos, right? But then turn 2, nicknamed the tunnel turn, 8 degrees banking, designed off of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So it mimics Indy's flat corners, tight entry angles, makes it one of the most technical corners here at the facility. And then turn 3 is the flattest out of them, 6-degree banking, and it's based off the Milwaukee Mile. So a flat, wide Milwaukee style turn, and that is the layout. So you have Trenton Speedway, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah, I was saying I knew it was three different tracks there, and and like you said, what the interesting point is, turn 1 having the most banking, and what would you say it was? 13 degrees?
11
degrees. 11 degrees.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Oh,
that's
14.
Nothing.
Sorry, 14
in the NASCAR. 14. That's nothing in the NASCAR world.
Yeah.
14 degrees of banking is nothing.
14,
so it just
8,
goes to
6.
show how flat. I would say it just shows you how flat this track really is.
Yeah, I mean, and then you get down to even turn 3, right, based off of Milwaukee Mile, which is where the drivers are coming out now. 6 degrees. I mean, it's just flat, right? We do have a position change though. Kinsley Smith, he's working his way towards the front, and now that lead is starting to shrink a little bit too, because what was about a second that Puffenberger had over top of Truth Oak is now down to less than 7/10. So Kinsley Smith and them guys are working them ways towards the front. Now, Ira Kohlhaas has caught the back end of the field after having to start on pit road for his, situation. Has moved himself up to 11th outside the top 10.
Yeah, one thing I noticed while we were talking there about this layout here at Pocono was I noticed some guys coming down pit road already. I mean, we're on lap 17. We were figuring it would go 20, 20, 20 or 25, 25, 10. So kind of interesting to see guys like I think Troy Thomas was one of them. I think the 28 was another one that they've come down pit road already about 15 laps into this race.
Yeah, so I have them on pit road. At lap 12 was Troy Thomas, and lap 13 was Barry Nelson. So, yeah, I mean, they're probably thinking 25 to the finish, right, from this point. So, we'll see how that works out. But no change out front. Puffenberger's led them all. We know we're getting close to what potentially could be the pit window opening for some of these drivers. Well, what would be the most of them as we are quickly are fastly approaching what will be lap 19 here just in one more corner, Russ.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, some different pit strategies are already playing into effect, Like you said, some guys maybe going 25, 25, 10. Those guys that pitted on lap 12 maybe thinking in reverse, do a short pit early on and then do 2 long stints at the end. So different pit strategies are already playing out here.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on and pit strategy, and I'll get to the battles that we're watching, but pit strategy here you can get away with, right? You can gamble here because there's just so much track time that is out there to get around this, 2.5 miles here at Pocono. So if you're going to gamble, this is a place to do it, right? I mean, you don't want to cost yourself, but I mean, at least with a gamble, you have enough, hope to have enough laps to make it work.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the draft is kind of a thing here. I mean, you really want to be in that draft, but I don't think it's quite as prudent as what it is at like a typical super speedway like Daytona or Talladega. I mean, it's nice if you have that draft to be able to work with, but I think like you said, this would be one of those larger tracks that you could gamble on and try some different things.
You could, and I've been watching the battles back here between what was Kirby Wainscott. It's now on pit road, but Wainscott, Alex Gates, Andrew Teff, Christopher Pindell, those guys have been throwing haymakers at each other. But right now, the battle for the lead's heating up. Kinsley Smith only about 3/10 off of the back end of the 5 car.
Yeah, he's running that 5 car down. I mean, like I said, we're closing in. We're on lap 20 here, so we could be seeing pit stops anytime here from these leaders within the next 5 laps. But Kinsley right on that back bumper. He caught that draft of the 5, and now possibly going to be making a move for the lead here.
Yeah,
nope, not quite. Going to tuck it back in.
Yeah, he took a look on the outside. It just didn't prevail for him, but he's not really going to lose any time. I mean, he's in the draft now, so he's going to be able to run right there with him. And now I will say, I believe that, Kinsley has been consistently a little bit faster than Puffenberger for the last couple of laps, but this is going to be a hard pass, right? I mean, it's hard to pass here at Pocono.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks that, kind of like Auto Club there last week. It's just one of them ones where you really have to have a strong run to be able to make a clean pass, especially, 1v1. I mean, if you had somebody that was pushing you or pulling you in a draft, it'd be a little bit different. But 1v1, it's definitely a little bit harder. And now we see the 15 taking a dive there into the tunnel turn and going to take this lead over from the 5.
He is going to take the lead over. Is the 15 of Kinsley Smith, and he will right now come to pit road. Yeah, this is not a bad call, Russ. I actually like this out of the 15, right? Because you just taken the lead. You're at the end of your pit cycle, or your pit window's open, 22 laps in. This is a smart move, right? Because now you're going to get back out on pit road and hopefully cycle back out to the front.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things we've seen with Kinsley too is, he's able to make these really good pit stops. So yeah, I mean, if you're able to make that fast move and then bring him immediately onto pit road, even if you don't cycle back out to the lead, you're going to be right there in a battle for the lead once the whole thing cycles out.
Yeah, and he will be on fresh tires once he leaves pit road. Now, it's all going to depend on when Puffenberger, Hoke, Teff, and Dell all decide to come down pit road. But right now, what will be our series champion putting a lot of heat on the back of that 98.
Yeah, 94 looks like he's at least trying to stay right with the 98 right now. I mean, like I said, he's at this point, he's got nothing to lose. So, I mean, I think from this point forward, if he wanted to really start trying to push, he could easily do so. It's not going to hurt him at all, I don't think. So, I mean, see how it plays out. I mean, I've never been in the position that he's in right now. Maybe he's just thinking, I'm just going to try to bring this car up in one piece and bring home this championship.
Yeah, I mean, if it was me, that's exactly what I'd be doing. You know what I mean? I would have probably started the one lap and then just let the field go and been in my own world just logging laps. I mean, at this point, Christopher has nothing left to prove, right? I mean, he did all that through the regular season. I mean, he was he was our most winningest driver in the regular season, right? Or within the season as a whole. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing else for him to prove. I mean, he did it through the playoffs. There's nothing to prove here tonight other than just go out, log laps, bring the car home in one piece.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a fun free run for him right now tonight. So, like I said, again, it's something that, he can use this race with nothing on the line and learn for coming back here next season.
And that's exactly what I would be doing if I was him. Now, we know Puffenberger has been on pit road. He come at lap 22, so he come one lap later than the 15. He cycled out behind the 15. You can see there's the difference on the screen. So there's the 15. There's the 5. That's left. Truth Hoke, Andrew Teff, Christopher Pindell, Ira Kohlhaas, and Timothy Yesbrand, all on Timothy Eisbrand, all on pit road. Now, Hoke and Pindell has hit pit road now, so Teff's still out on the racetrack.
Yeah, I'm sure Teff will be in here this lap. Gonna get at that lap lead. Like I said, he's still in a little bit of a points battle for second place in the points with Curtis Ecker. So if he can get this lap led, it's an extra bonus point towards helping that cause of catching up to Curtis.
So gain all the points you can gain to move yourself up as many positions as you can do so. You can see right there, last season's defending series champion, Andrew Teff, quite a little bit of a bobble out of the exit there. It's not something we've seen throughout the night, but we do know that these cars can get somewhat loose and wild here at Pocono.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the nature of the beast with these flatter tracks is, sometimes the you don't have that baking to really put to help put that downforce on the tires, so it just kind of frees the car up a little bit just by the track design.
So Andrew Taft, Ira Kohlhaas, what was 1 and 2, has now made their way to pit road. So that once those guys get down and away and exit, that will cycle out or be the finish of the cycle for our first green flag stop. Now, what that should do, Russ, is that should bring Kinsley Smith back to the front.
Right now, looks like maybe about a 1 second lead there over Pufferbarger, I believe. So, I mean, definitely made up some ground, a little bit of ground there on pit road. So, yeah, not a bad call.
Not a bad call to, I mean, he made the decision very quick, right? He got to the front and is like, I'm coming to pit road. And so, again, I like that call. To me, I think that's a smart move. If you're, the driver of the 15 right now, again, not a playoff driver, just coming out here chasing checkered flags. This was the right call.
And you throw caution to the wind sometimes, and you got nothing to lose other than a checkered flag. So, yeah, definitely a good call.
So now that the pit cycles have played out, Timothy Eisbrun has he received a black flag for something. Not sure as to why. So he's coming down to serve that black flag. It's a pass through. That tells me he got caught speeding on pit road, Russ.
Yeah, one of those mistakes that you just can't have happen. But guys seem to have that problem sometimes. I mean, and the pit road speed limit here is fairly. I believe it's 55. So, just one of those mistakes that you got to put behind you.
Yeah, just, I mean, it happens, right? I mean, it happens to the best of us. I mean, you get a little eager sometimes going down pit road. There's times on the iRacing service that you can run a mile an hour over and you'll be just fine. And there's times that you can run a mile an hour under and you get caught for speeding. It's never made sense to me, but it does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had it happen more than enough times, so.
Well, now with the green flag cycle, all these drivers have completely spread themselves out from each other. Now, Barry Nelson was one of the first cars to come down pit road. Oh, he's got some heavy right front damage. I'm not sure maybe what had happened to him, but he does have some heavy right front damage. Because I was going to say, after him hitting pit road and on lap 13, he should have cycled out a lot better than he cycled out, but he didn't. So neither did the 3 of Troy Thomas.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe those fresh tires got a little bit loose, got up into the wall or something like that, kind of hurt him a little bit.
So all these drivers have spread themselves out, except for these 2 right here. This is the closest battle that I can find on the racetrack, Russ, and that's going to be the driver of the number 10, Kirby Wainscott, and what will be series champion, Christopher Bendel.
Yeah, Bendel was he was right there on the bumper of the 10. Maybe take a look to make a move, but looks like Kirby's got a little bit of about 2/10s now, about a tenth of a second. So 94 still shows some speed, getting right back there to the bumper of the 10 car. Not going away too easily right now.
Oh, maybe a little tight, loose sensation right there. I mean, the car wanted to snap. You could see the bobble out of the 94, and he had to get up on the wheel and save it, and not stuff it into the wall. Might have been like an arrow to. Oh, the 10 just got the wall really hard right there.
Yeah, got the wall, got loose, went back up, got back into the wall. Gonna lose this spot here to the 94. Don't know if he got too much damage here or not. We'll have to see if he makes a beeline for pit road or not.
I mean, that was
like it.
Yeah, I mean, he shows some right foot damage there on the front end of that 10 machine. And that was a pretty hard hit, Russ. I mean, when you wrinkle up the front right fender right like that right there, You can see that gap between where the front bumper cover and the fender would connect. That's some pretty hefty aero damage for a place like Pocono.
Yeah, and I was just watching here, and it looks like we got one in the wall, and we got a caution here now. That's going to help Kirby a little bit to be able to get that damage fixed.
Yeah, in fact, right here it is. It's going to be the driver right here of the 192. It's going to be Timothy Eisbren. Let's see if we can go back, Russ, and take a peek at it here. We'll watch it in real time, and then I'm not 100% sure what happened there.
I was just say, what happened?
Maybe a wheel disconnect? I don't know. Let's back it up. I'm gonna back.
I mean, it looks like he was going to like enter the corner, but he only went to go enter the corner about 3/4 of the way down the straightaway.
So let's go on board.
Know.
Yeah, we'll go on board, Russ, and we'll see what we can. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm flabbergasted by that. I'm not sure what happened there.
I mean, he's traveling straight, right? I mean, you can see it right here. The car will start to head left towards the inside of the track. And it's almost like a wheel disconnect. But he's entering the corner too early.
It just snaps right. I don't know.
That was a hard hit.
I've never seen that. I mean, usually wheel disconnects are a little bit more noticeable than what that was.
Right.
I mean, normally like a wheel disconnect, you're going to see that wheel jerk to one way or the other. And when we were in that in-car, it was just like a nice, easy move to the left and then whoop, right to the right, up into the wall.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Maybe we can find him if he is he hanging out in one of these channels? Is Eisbren? Maybe we can. I don't see him anywhere. I thought maybe we could just pull him up here and just ask him what may have happened there. In fact, he's down there. If you want to grab him, Russ, we'll bring him up here and we'll ask.
Let me see if I can. All right, should see if we can get him here.
Timothy, it's Brandon and Russ up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, and I really don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah, well, that's why we brought you up here, man. We first of all was wanting to make sure you was okay in the sim rig, number one, but then number two, we was just wanting to kind of cover it there. We watched it on replay. The car was heading a little bit towards the inside of the racetrack and just a hard snap back right towards the outside wall.
Yeah, as soon as I got off the gas, it hooked right, and I don't know why.
As long as you're all right, you get that thing fixed up and get her back out on the racetrack.
Yeah, I got about another 30 seconds of tow, and I got my fast repair.
All right, sounds good. What team channel you need us to move you back down to, Bob?
Heck, it doesn't matter. I'm by myself.
Oh, okay.
Terry Fingell ain't here.
Oh, I got you. Okay, we'll just move you down into one. How's that?
Yeah, Stringer's is fine.
All right, Bubba. Get her back out on the racetrack. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Yeah, he just wasn't sure, Russ. I mean, he just what?
Yeah, it just it sounded like he was just letting off to make that corner entry, and it just hooked on him.
So,
kind of weird.
Let's reset here, okay? Because one driver's elected to stay out. That driver goes by the name Andrew Teft. All right. Now, he's only got about 6 laps. He'll have about 6 lap difference in tires. But I tell you what this does do. This helps out drivers like Troy Thomas, Ira Kohlhaas, Trevor Fettig, Barry Nelson, right? Some of these guys that had lost touch with the lead pack, it helps those guys.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna allow them to get those get the fresh tires if they want to take some tires, but it puts them right back into the mix of the rest of these guys. And for Andrew to stay out, I mean, like you said, he was only, he's got what, 7 laps now on this set of tires. I mean, I'm not really too sure how prudent fresh tires are here at Pocono. So, I mean, this may be a gamble that could pay off for him if if tires prove to really not be that important of a thing to have, a 6 lap difference in tire wear. Is going to put him out in the front.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take a look. We're gonna watch it, right? We'll see what happens. I'm with you, Russ. I'm not sure how important tires could be here. I mean, it's with 7 lap different tires. I mean, obviously Andrew knows probably something we don't. I mean, we're up in the booth, we're not in the car. And it's something that once the caution come out, he could have took a very quick look at his tire wear from the first set and been like, wait a minute, there's not that much wear difference. Maybe the fall off hasn't been that much between, runs. So we'll see.
That's definitely a possibility. I mean, like I said, I've seen plenty of guys, pull this kind of strategy at certain tracks, and it pays off really well for them. So going to be interesting. Maybe he, like you said, learned something on that first run as far as tire wear, where it's not that much different. So be interesting to see as the pace truck's going to roll back off, and he's going to bring these cars down here to the restart.
And in fact, he will get to the restart zone and he will launch, and beautifully done does he do it. Now Puffenberger is pushing the back end all off that number 8 of Curtis Ecker. They're going to have a pretty good run. In fact, Ecker may be able to clear the 15. Don't know. The 15's tight. Oh, Russ, I thought the 15 had him.
Yeah, almost got that left rear quarter panel. They had to check up just a little bit, and that's causing some of these guys here to spread out just a little bit. But bold move, almost catastrophe.
That was wild. I mean, it looked like he just got a little bit tight, did Kinsley Smith, and I thought there was going to be some contact there. There wasn't. Andrew Teff still out front. I tell you what, though, the battle's heating up right here. You got Truth Hope, Puffenberger, you got Pendle, all right here together, racing what was going to be for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, Truth looking to work his way back up to the front. He was up there most of this race here so far. Fell back there to currently in P6, battling for 5th. After that round of pit stop, so looking to try to work his way back up to the front in that 55.
He is looking to work his way back out to the front. Most of these drivers have now went single file. You can see the 41 of Aaron Markey right here. You got Dennis Kane, Trevor Fettig, all back here. I'm not sure what happened to this driver right here. He's kind of in his lonesome. I'm not sure. He restarted with the pack, and Ira just doesn't like shifting. That's probably what happened to Ira. He just hates shifting cars, or gears rather.
Yeah, you and I know Ira pretty well in that sense, and yeah, he is very anti-shifting in the corners. So this could be one of those things of what we were talking about, the difference in speed from shifting to not shifting. Maybe we should go on board with Ira and take a lap around the track with him and see if he is indeed shifting.
We can do that. Not. I can tell you what, I figured him out, Russ. You know what? We have 25 laps to go. He might be trying to stretch this thing to the end on a fuel run.
Well, it could very well be.
I mean, because when you look at it, him, Trevor, and Barry Nelson all come down pit road right before the green flag dropped and top back off on fuel at lap 32. And so that being the case, we were told that, you could possibly stretch this to 25 laps. So it might not be out of the realm of possibility that he is going into fuel saving mode and going to try to make this thing all the way to the end. But I mean, some of these other guys, they should be able to do the same thing. As you can see right here, we're on board the 81 of Ira Kohlhaas. He's really backing those entries up, and he's really rotating the car.
Shifting. And he is not shifting.
He's not.
Still in 5th gear.
He is not shifting. He's in fuel save mode. Ira's in fuel save mode right now. So we'll keep an eye on this, because this might actually play out in his favor, Russ. I mean, I know he does well with fuel strategy, especially here. Me and him's done it before, so we'll keep an eye on it. Now, Ecker is starting to slowly close in on the back bumper of the 98. But right now,
Yeah.
those 7 lap holder tires is holding on.
Yeah, I mean, he's holding on strong with those 7 lap holder tires, that 98, but that 8 car kind of coming out of nowhere. I mean, Kensley Smith was running in P2, so we missed that pass that Ecker made for P2, but starting to run down the 98 of Andrew Teff.
He is starting to run down. Now, if you remember on that restart, the 15 got really, really tight behind the 8, and that's what separated the 2. And so that's kind of the gap that we're seeing right now. Now, how my thing would be at this point, Russ, is if you know on that restart, right, that you got super tight if you're the driver of the 15 and Kensley Smith, you know you got really tight. How much effect do you think that has on the tires, heating them up, especially trying to rotate through these flat 8 and 6 degree corners?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was just going to say. I mean, it probably has a little bit more prudence here with this track specifically because of the flatter corners. I mean, the more you slide on a flatter track, it's going to heat those tires up even more. So he might have to take a little bit of time, cool those tires down before he starts trying to make this run back down here to the 8 car.
Yeah, now you can see a little bit of different line between Teft and Ecker right here, right? I mean, when you watch them, Andrew exits a little bit higher, Ecker exiting a little bit lower. I'm not sure which of the two might be the better line. Now, Ecker enters a little bit higher, runs a little bit higher through the tunnel turn. Didn't seem to help him any there. We'll see what he does here in turn 3. So used to seeing.
It looks like Andrew was able to. So it looks like Andrew was able to stretch that gap out just a little bit on that last corner exit there through that tunnel turn. Looks like he's going to do it again here out of turn 3.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes this place so difficult, Russ, is you have to perfect the cornering here, right? Because you can lose so much time just in cornering here, but you can gain a ton of time in cornering here.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's why, especially at tracks like Pocono here, I mean, the more seat time that you can put in to really learn how to get this car around this track is gonna prove, beyond the shadow of a doubt when it comes to race time. And if you can figure out this track, your entry points, where you're getting off the throttle, getting back into your throttle, if you can perfect that and get into a solid rhythm, then it's definitely going to help you now more than ever. As now we see the 98 coming down pit road, and Curtis Ecker is going to take over this lead, and now the 15, Kensley Smith's going to look to take the lead back over.
Yeah, he is. We know the 98's going to be on pit road. We know that he can get to the finish from here. Now, the rest of these drivers, Russ, we know that the last time they were last on pit road is going to be lap 31, say 32. That'll put us about 30 to the finish. So that tells us that every one of these guys will not make it. They're going to have to stop. My question is when do you stop? Because now I would think you have to run long here, right? You got to make that last bit as short as possible because Andrew Teft should have an extra set of tires in the pits. These guys, if they was to come now, would have to burn another set.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew kind of proved good. Now we see Kensley Smith coming down pit road and the 77 Alice Gates. I mean, I think Andrew proved that having those 6 lap older tires really didn't make too much of a difference when it came to holding off and defending the lead there. So I mean, you could go long if you wanted to, but I mean, we're seeing some of these guys coming down pit road right now. In the long run, I'm not really seeing tire wear being too much of a factor if you're able to defend that lead.
Yeah, so I mean, would you come now not to give up? Because I mean, if the tire wear isn't a factor, and which for us, we don't think that it was because Andrew was able to maintain on 7 lap holder tires there. So provided that being the case, tire wear not being a big issue, I mean, you could run this thing long, right? And then take what would be just enough fuel to get to the finish and not give up a lot of track time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking right now. I mean, I see that those tires didn't really, proves to be too much of a factor. I mean, you figure, we're on lap 43 out of 60. We've got 17 laps to go. I mean, the gap that you're going to stretch for these guys coming down pit road, it may be an insurmountable gap if you just come down top off fuel, don't take tires, and finish this race on the set of tires that you're currently on now.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that would be a solid call. I mean, if the tire fall off isn't all that much. I mean, right now Curtis Ecker running 53.3s, and what was his best lap at a 52.80. I mean, that's only a half a second, right? And I'm going to say, based on his pit time, when he was last on pit road at 31, that might have even been a 2-tire change. He was only on pit road for 9 seconds, or at least in his pit stall for 9 seconds. So that very well could have been a top off and a 2-tire change for Curtis Ecker. And even at that point, it's only been a half-second difference from four fresh at the start of this thing when the drivers was running hard to where we are now with about 16 laps to go once he gets back to the start-finish line.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how far he's able to, to stretch this fuel run. I mean, if he can go, to lap 47 or 48, he's only going to have, 11, 12 laps that he's going to have to keep defending this lead. So, I mean, you figure if he's got a, if he can build himself about a 5-second lead over, like say Puffenbarger and Truth Hoke both come down pit road right now, about a second and a half back from Ecker. Then you've got 6.4 seconds back to Christopher Pendel in fourth. At a half a second a lap, that's not going to be enough time.
Yeah, no, you're right. It definitely wouldn't be enough time. And so,
and it's going to hurt because the caution flag is now out.
I'm showing the 10 of Kirby Wainscott. We're going to take a look here, Russ, and see what may have happened.
I think the 10 and the 28 got together.
Let's go back here. I'm going to rewind this a little bit further. You can see these two drivers are side by side heading down towards the tunnel turn. I'm going to change this view, Russ. We're going to see if we can't maybe we're going to watch it in slow-mo. We'll kind of dissect this as we go. See right now, I mean, they're side by side. They're pretty cordial with each other. Pretty even.
Yeah, coming into this tunnel turn, this track really narrows when you're side by side. Looks like the 28 is going to send it in a little bit deep there.
Oh, the 10's loose.
Going to go down onto the apron. Kirby's going to get down on the apron and come back up onto the track. Just gets tight coming back up and right up into the 28.
Yeah, I think, though, I'm going to stop it. I want to rewind this. I think there's tire marks as the 10 starts to go down into the corner. You can see that it kind of loose right there. Loose in the downshift, gets him on the apron, and then tight. Yeah, he just the transition from the apron
just
back.
Just a little bit there on that shift. Got him loose, got him down the apron, and nothing he could have done. He was along for the ride at that point.
So that right there kind of flips a lot of things, right? So we know that Ira was probably on a fuel strategy run. We know Andrew and Kinsley Smith had just come down pit road, not but around lap 40-41. Alex Gates was on pit road around the same time. So we know these drivers here are going to have to come down pit road top off fuel to be able to make it. Now, here's my question. If you're Ira Kohlhaas, do you come down pit road? He is.
Yeah. I would go ahead and say go ahead and come on down. I mean, you've got nothing to lose at this point. So
yeah, and Andrew Tefts is going to follow him. So they're going to take 4 tires, right? So that's going to leave though Alex Gate and Kinsley Smith both electing to stay out here. Now we know that
I'm kind of surprised to see Andrew Teff come back in. I mean, he was just down pit road. This would have put him into a prime spot to be out front there. So for him to
he was in front of
come back down.
Yeah, he was in front of the 15 on when the caution come out. So he would have lined up outside the front row right there on the restart.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I figured he would have stayed out, ran this thing to the end. I mean, unless the tires are more, are more beneficial than what we think they were. But I mean, he would have cycled out to be the leader here at this caution, cycling back out to being the leader. So, like I said, really surprised to see him come back down pit road.
Yeah, I am too. Now, here's what we have. You have Alex Gates, Kinsley Smith, last on pit road about lap 41, right? Ecker and company, Ecker being the first one off pit road, we're going to guess that it was with 4 tires. Now, when I look at the pit road time, he was only down there 9.9 seconds. So was Puffenberger. So that tells me there was either a 2-tire call like he had made previously, but there's only 5 laps difference between the 2 pit stops, right? So we're in that same situation like we was the previous caution, Russ, where Andrew Teft elected to stay out. At no harm, no foul, he was able to maintain the lead. So what does this do for Alex Gates? What does this do for Kinsley Smith? Now you've elected to stay out. You've seen Andrew Teft be able to do it. Now in your mind, you're thinking you can get away with it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was kind of watching a little bit of Andrew's pit stop there, and it looked to me like he came back down and got left sides only. So I think that's telling me he took right sides only when he came down under green. Now he came down being that couple of lap difference, left sides only. Now he's got 4 fairly fresh tires on that car, and that's what's making me think that, or that's what is making me think that Curtis Ecker did the exact same thing. He took the 2 tires before, now taking the 2 tires again, and just taking the left sides.
So I wonder, because we know that a lot of these drivers, right, from Ecker on back, Ecker, I'm going to say that Puffenberger and Ecker are both on 2 tires, just based off their pit times, right? I'm going to guess and say that the first car on 4 fresh Goodyears is going to be Truth Oak. That's my guess. Now, again, we have no way to know that. We can't see the telemetry behind that, right, Russ? So it's a guess. I can tell you, though, for sure, the 81 of Ira Kohlhaas, I can guarantee you, is on 4 fresh Goodyear tires, because we know that he was going to run long off of a fuel strategy. So my guess is the
absolutely.
81's for sure on tires. That's a guess. Again, there's no way for us to know, though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with you in the fact of the 55 probably being the first car out there with 4 absolutely fresh tires. But I'm thinking, really, like, from what we've seen, I feel like the 77 and the 15 are probably in a pretty good position, because they're going to be on 4 a little bit slightly worn tires, but they're going to be on equally worn tires.
Yeah. So
they could be a little bit more of a prime position than what some of these other guys are, but like you said before, we're in the booth, they're on the track, they're coming to the green flag, and what do we know?
Then the green flag is out. Now, Alex Gates elected to take the outside here on this restart, and so we know the 15 got extremely tight down there at the end, at the exit of turn 1. So we're gonna monitor this here. We'll see how this works out. In fact, no problem for the 15. He's going to clear the 5. Here comes Ecker. There comes Hoke. 3 wide back here.
I say this is where things are going to get racy. Closing in on 10 laps to go, and it's go time here from Pocono.
It is.
These guys are not holding back anymore, and now we see Dennis Kane getting loose with a bump from the 41, going to be able to save it.
What a beautiful save.
Holds on to it.
What a beautiful save, Russ, by the 4 of Dennis Kane. I can't believe he held on to it. Alex Gates, though, still holding on to the lead out in front of Kinsley Smith. Kinsley Smith putting a lot of pressure on. Is he going to be able to get to his quarter? He is not. Ecker on the inside of Christopher Pendel, a name that we know is good. The driver we know is going to be the series champion, has now since found himself inside the top 5 here in the closing laps.
Yeah, just kind of working all race long, and a little bit of strategy here or there, finds himself up inside the top 5. Going to be a very solid finishing position for him no matter what here tonight. Able to, make all these laps, and man, he's going to be one excited driver come the end of this thing in 10 laps.
So you got Ecker, you got Hoke, you got Taft. A little bit of difference between Hoke to Taft, and behind him, Troy Thomas, and then one man on the move. We got a little bit tight through the tunnel turn. The turn is the 81 of Ira Kohlhaas. He's going to be under pressure here from the 7-11. Let's see if he's able to maintain that position. Tight. And still tight. They're 3 wide down the front straightaway, Russ.
Yeah, 7-11 down there on the bottom. 41 Aaron Marquis going to squeak it to the middle with Ira there on the outside. 7-11 going to back out just a little bit. Let these guys drag race it down into turn 1.
Yeah, this is amazing racing here with 10 laps to go. We're going to get back out front. We're going to keep an eye on this battle for the lead. That battle is still raging on. Now, again, we know that the 77 has about the 77 and 15. We know they're on equal tires. But then we know that Puffenberger and Pendel and Ecker are all right there together. We know those drivers are at least on a little bit fresher tires, albeit not that much of an advantage right now.
Yeah, I mean, the gap in the pit stops were only about 5 laps. So, I mean, a little bit less than what Andrew Teft was out there on, able to hold off this field. So, I mean, I think the 77, I think, is definitely in a prime spot. We talked about it earlier. This track, very hard to pass at. So, if you can run your defensive line, it's going to be hard for Kensley Smith, I think, to make a pass unless he sends an absolute Hail Mary into one of these corners and, really kind of sends it off in there trying to get around the 77. Other than that, I mean, I think the 77 is in a pretty good spot right here with about 8 laps to go.
He is in a pretty decent spot with 8 laps to go. This is going to be the 8 longest laps that you will have if you are Alex Gates. I just seen a notification that Barry Nelson had an issue out on the racetrack. In fact, you can see him there. No caution yet. He's out of the way of the leaders. This race will stay under green flag condition as we're heading very quickly back to what you said, Russ. 8 laps to go. The leaders headed down the front straightaway.
Yeah, we see Puffenbarger there in the 5 looking to the inside of Kensley Smith for second. And the 8 has been trying to get himself around that 94, Chris Pendel. For the last few laps, I've been watching that battle, but nothing doing with the 5 having to fall back into place behind the 15 there.
I just seen the hood and some parts fly off of the 28 of Barry Nelson. Still no flag right now. The battle rages on with the front leaders. You can see Ecker, Pendel side by side. Puffenberger trying to put pressure on Kensley Smith. They're all trying to chase down Alex Gates coming down the 7 laps to go.
Yeah, Alex Gates there, like I said, him and Kensley on fairly even tires, and it's going to be hard. I think Alex is in a prime position unless Puffenbarger there can figure out a way to get himself around the 15. But now we see the 94 of Christopher Pendel trying to take a look.
Yeah,
not quite able to get a spot in there, though.
You got Hoke on the outside of Ecker now. Ecker lost some distance to Pendel. Puffenberger still trying to put pressure on the back of the 15. The 15 of Smith trying to put pressure on the 77. Right now, Hoke and Ecker was leaning all over each other entering turn 1.
Yeah, Ecker definitely wanting to stay in front of that 98. You see the 98 kind of coming, and that's the guy he's fighting for the points, for second place in the points. So definitely wants to keep the 98 there at bay. Just trying to keep that fender underneath the 55 of Truth Hoke coming through this tunnel turn. This is where it gets tight. And I think there was a little bit of contact. Truth going to be able to hold on to it.
Yeah, just
98 is going to get around the 8 now because of that.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, this tight racing. I mean, again, the 8's trying to side draft, doing everything he can. But again, as that was going on, I was watching because Puffenberger was putting a move on Kensley Smith. Now he's under duress from the 94 of what will be series champion Christopher Pendel.
Yeah, Pendel trying to make up another spot there. 5 had a lot of speed there trying to get up underneath the 15, but lost just a little bit of ground. Now he falls back into the clutches of the 94. Now taking a look to the outside.
Oh, he's going to get tight, Russ. The 5 is Puffenberger is going to get tight. That means Christopher Pendel is going to have a run heading into the tunnel turn, Russ. He will. Is he going to be able to clear him here? This is a big.
This gets tight.
I'm on the edge.
They make it work.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I mean, Christopher Pendel needed to complete that pass right there. I mean, we got 6 laps to go. We're coming to 5 to go. That was a big move with the 5 getting tight. Christopher really needed to make that pass happen right then and then take a shot at Smith, maybe with a chance to win here at Pocono. But right now, Alex Gates still showing the way.
Yeah, I mean, that tunnel turn is got to be one of the hardest places to try to make a pass around this racetrack. I mean, it gets so tight because even the outside, I mean, it may look like there's enough room there. I mean, and there is, but you've got to know how to make that move happen if you're the inside car, because the outside car, I mean, if you're trying to battle there on the outside going through that tunnel turn and you get tight, that wall comes up on you really, really fast. So, I mean, it gets really tight trying to make moves through that tunnel turn, but not able to quite get it done there for the 94. Now he's looking back to the inside of the 5 as the 5 goes high coming out of turn 4 here.
Yeah, and
turn 3.
And the 94 will get it done, Russ. Now, here's my question, right? If you're the 98, how much are you kicking yourself in the hind end for coming back down pit road? Because we know he made the older tires work earlier. He would have restarted exactly where Kinsley Smith is right now, and track position, especially here at Pocono, is everything. The 5 into the wall again.
Yeah, I mean, I said that when I saw him come down pit road. I mean, we see the 77 on those older tires. He's able to hold this lead. Kinsley Smith running second, able to hold that position. I don't know. I mean, maybe something was, with Andrew is more than what I know, but I mean, yeah, I mean, if I was Andrew and being able to see the 77 and the 15 hold off all these runs from guys on fresher tires, I definitely wish I was out front, because right now the guy that's battling me for that second place in the points is right behind me. So, I mean, at least if I didn't pit and I gave myself that chance to win, that would have been those 3 extra bonus points. That would have forced Kurt in the 8 there to make sure he was within two positions of me to be able to hold on.
Yeah, right now, one of the faster cars on the racetrack, Russ, is the 94, though. He is right now about 2/10 quicker than the car in front of him, and the car that's leading this race is Christopher Pendel. But I agree, right? Like, I mean, I think you got to stay out at that point. The older tire is working, but we're very quickly coming to 2 laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's showing evident there with the 77 and the 15. I mean, it's just been 5, it's only a 5-lap difference between them two and everybody else as far as coming down pit road, and the 77 being able to hold everybody off here, coming to 2 to go, looking to pick up a win here in the Races of the Lead Next Gen Cup Series in the season finale.
And right now, with 2 laps to go, if you're Alex Gates, the last thing that you want to see is going to be a caution. And so far, this has been a relatively clean race. We've only had the 2 cautions. And I think right now, Christopher Pendel and Kinsley Smith has gave it everything that they can. Andrew Teff looking to make he's trying to gain another spot off the 5. We're going through the tunnel turn.
Yeah, this is where it gets tight. I mean, 5 keeping it just a little bit wider than what normal, and they're going to get door to door, a little bit of rubbing there, able to make it through clean coming into turn 3.
Let's see if Andrew's able to carry some momentum inside Brandon Puffenberger right now. You bringing the 8 with you. I mean, we know that the draft side by side is there. Alex Gates looking to take the white flag here, Russ. And in fact, he has done so. The white flag out, 1 lap to go to end the season here in season 8.
Yeah, that was the one thing he definitely wanted to see. I mean, granted, if a yellow were to have come out, I don't think anybody would have came down pit road anyway. I think everybody pretty much going to be set in stone on their tires for the race. But, yeah, Alex definitely wanting to see that white flag, knowing that this thing is locked now. I'll just try to bring it home and pick up another win here in the Races Elite in the season finale.
I mean, you got to do what you've done 60 other times, and that's be clean for at least that corner and 1 more. The closing distance is actually a little bit closer than it was for the 15. The 15 tried to sell it off in there. I don't know. He's not going to get a run. In fact, he's not. Alex Gates is going to bring it home. Chasing the checker is a 77. Alex Gates gets it done at Pocono.
Yeah, Alex Gates picking up a solid win there at Pocono. Kinsley Smith coming home in P2, and then Christopher Pendel, our season champion, going to bring it home in P3 as we see these guys starting to have a little fun celebrating the end of the season.
Yeah, they are, and that's normal here at Racers Elite, letting those guys do that. They have a little bit of fun there at the end and like to crash and bang and demo derby each other. So no harm, no foul. But what an impressive call by the 77 Alex Gates.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we kind of talked about it, throughout the race, and we weren't really sure how prevalent that the tires were actually going to be. And I think he probably saw that, the older tires, even if it was 5 laps, 7 laps, we're able to hold up with the fresh tires. So, it's the last race of the season. You got nothing to lose. Take the swing for the fences, and the 77 picks up a win here at Pocono.
And he was a playoff driver, and what a great job and a great call to elect to stay out there. See, he's getting some congratulatory, being congratulated. While I'm guessing would be a teammate there in Troy Thomas. You can see he rolled up there. But what an absolutely, it was an amazing call. A beautiful paint scheme too.
Yeah, Alex always out there in that the red, white, and blue, always looking good. Good on him. And then, we got to throw out the congratulations to Christopher Pindell, your Season 8 Races Elite Cup Series champion, bringing it home in P3 and locking himself up his first career championship here.
Yeah, it will be his first career championship here in Racers Elite. And what better series to do it in than to do it right here on Thursday night in the Next Gen Series. And you can see the race winner and series champion celebrating, burning the tires off of them Jules. Russ, we're going to get into the race results here. We'll pull those up where we know. Back there they are. You can see, race fans, Alex Gates is your winner. Kinsley Smith, Christopher Pindell, Brandon Puffenberger, Andrew Teff, Curtis Secker, Troy Thomas, Truth Hoke. That's going to be the top 8.
Wayne Scott, Ira Kohlhaas, Dennis Kane, Aaron Marquis, Trevor Feddick, Timothy, and Barry Nelson going to round out the field here tonight.
And what a great, but I'm telling Russ, what a great last 12 laps we had.
Yeah, I mean, it was really fun. I mean, like I said, we hit that, 12 to go, 10 to go. Once that restart happened, the guys knew that, that this thing was coming down to the wire, and it was time to go. And we saw some really good moves happening, and some, maybe not so good moves happening. But it was a great race, and nonetheless, I mean, guys not leaving anything, or kind of throwing caution to the wind there, and not leaving anything out there on the table, going side by side through that tunnel turn. I personally wouldn't do that because I hate that damn turn.
Same. Absolutely. I feel the exact same way. So we're going to get our drivers. I'm currently moving them around, and I know that we're going to do things a little bit different tonight, Russ. And I hope you're okay with that. We're going to start with our series champion. How about we start with him?
Yeah, might as well get the champion in here.
Christopher, it's Brandon and Russ up in the booth. You got a copy?
How you guys doing?
What's going on, champ?
Yeah, I'm excited. I finally got her done. I was kind of skeptical, but hey, you never know. Anything could happen. I was just happy to finally get me one.
Yeah, man. I mean, we called it, at the beginning of the race, we kept seeing how many drivers were coming in. You had that 16-point buffer over Curtis there for the P1 spot, and pretty much rolling out there under pace laps, you kind of sealed this thing up. Weren't quite enough drivers out there to really make the difference. So let me be the first to congratulate you on your first championship here in the Races Elite Next Gen Cup Series.
Man, I appreciate it. First off, I got to thank my guys over at GLS, my buddy TJ and Tim Rourke and all those guys. First off, TJ does my paint schemes, so all my paint schemes you see on track, those are his schemes, and he does a great job. He actually convinced me to kind of stick with it because I was kind of skeptical towards the beginning of the season where I was struggling. I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And he's like, nah, just get into it, keep racing. You'll be all right. And then obviously, I've had some good help too along the way from John. John's gave me some pointers on tracks I'm necessarily good at, and he's kind of gave me advice, and it's kind of helped me a little bit. This season, I don't know what it is. I've had everything go my way, which is awesome. I've had all the luck go my way. Usually I've had bad luck, and it's awesome. Come out here, champ. I got a championship under my belt, and I got Misfits, the team championship too. So that's even better.
Well, I mean, that's all part of the growth. Like you said, you got, John helping you at tracks that you're not really feeling comfortable at. I mean, it's all part of the growth here and on the iRacing service. And, I said it to you last week, and I've said it throughout the season that, I feel like you and Curtis Ecker, and we were talking about this earlier, you and Curtis Ecker from last season have got to be the two most improved drivers coming out of last season. And I said, how ironic is it that now it's you two that are battling for the championship at the end of the season? Yeah. So, I mean, you know, it's proved time and time again. I mean, you know, 3 wins on the regular season, 1 win in the playoffs, 4 wins on the season in total, winningest driver of the season for Racers Elite in the Cup Series. Definitely a well-deserved championship for you here. And you know, take us back through tonight's race, and what were your thoughts throughout this race, and you know, your plan as far as getting this thing to the end and bringing this championship home.
Well, honestly, I wasn't expecting to be up there battling for sure. I started in the back because I didn't want to, go forcing anything and accidentally get involved in a wreck. I kind of just played my time and saved my tires a little bit. And I'm surprised the cautions we had. Usually, you know, these guys here, we don't have very many cautions in Racers Elite. So I thought it was going to come down to strategy. So I was just also trying to save my stuff. And that last caution, wasn't really looking forward to it, but I was glad that it happened because, obviously we knew we could make it on fuel. But at the same time, I was hoping it wasn't, because I would have been like, with what I was saving, I would have probably been half the lap to a lap to good. So I would have been interested to see what happened there for sure. But my mindset was just to let everybody do their thing, and then just be there at the end and have a decent finish and bring it home. And then the guys in front of me were battling for the win there. They had like 5 lap older tires, and I'm like, man, if I can just get up there and just get to them and battle. And I had a couple times I had run on Kinsley there, and I just couldn't complete the pass. It's so hard in these cars to complete the pass here. But congrats to Alex. He won the race. Congrats to him, man. I know he's been looking for this one, and man, that's awesome. I was so excited when that checker flag finally hit. I'm like, man, I'm so relieved this season's over with and everything went my way for once, and I appreciate it. And I'm just so ready.
Well, man, it was a fun race to watch. I mean, you know, you talked about the just kind of sitting back and letting everybody do the thing, and I said during the beginning of the broadcast that, if I was in your position, that's exactly what I would have done. So don't blame me at all for running that kind of strategy, but it pays off for you. You gotta, you ended up with a third place finish here tonight in Pocono and bringing home that first series championship. Again, I say congratulations, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Let you give any other shout outs that you got for this championship this season, my friend.
Obviously, I said it earlier. I know last week I didn't get a chance to message it, but all my buddies over at GLS that I race with every night, this is the only night that I don't race in a league race with them. And my buddy TJ, he does my paints and he hooks me up with some good looking cars on racetrack. And he's been there since we've been buddies for years, and he's been there through thick and thin. And then Tim, all these guys over there at GLS, and thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for broadcasting. Obviously we wouldn't be doing these races if you guys wasn't broadcasting. You all do a great job. I love talking to y'all every week. I know you probably get tired of me rambling on, but you guys do a great job every week, and I'm glad to come back and watch these races. And thanks to all the guys over at Racers Elite. Andrew, thanks for letting me stay in the league, and I know we've had a couple run-ins this season, but you still raced me respectful, and thank you for letting me be in the league. Thanks to everybody else. They've raced me respectful and clean, and man, let's go celebrate. I got to go get me some beer, man. go get a couple beers out of the fridge and drink me a couple cold beers.
I don't know what you're waiting for. I've already started.
All right, man. Well, again, congrats on picking up this your first series championship, and we look forward to seeing you back out on the track again in 2 weeks when season 9 gets its start.
Yep, I appreciate it. Home track too, Kentucky, I think, right?
Yes.
I believe so.
Yep. Kentucky.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yep.
I know me and Curtis, that's technically like the Kirby's track because he lives in Sparta, but I mean that's like the closest one to me. So that's technically my home track. So hopefully we're battling out for the win there.
All right, my friend. Well, look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks, and go soak this championship up, my friend.
I appreciate it. Talk at y'all later. Thanks for broadcasting the season.
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
Yeah, I tell you what, Russ, what an absolutely ecstatic young man right there. Just just an amazing season, right? You can't. I mean, he was the most winningest driver that we had here in the Cup Series, and just what a turnaround. From a driver that Didn't think that he was going to be able to run this season just because of the struggles he had to turning it around and winning a championship.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that he's a prime example of what can happen when you decide to put in the work and put those laps in, and even maybe reach out to a mentor of sorts at certain tracks that you're not comfortable with, like what he did, and it obviously helped him, and again, well deserved of the championship this season.
Well, without further ado, let's bring in our race winner, Alex. It's Brandon and Russ up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man. Well, look, what a call, right? You elected to stay out there. We knew that there wasn't much difference in terms of tires when the 98 of Andrew Teff elected to stay out after the first caution. And so we was watching, and we had talked about how this was probably a right call. You were going to have control of the race on that last restart, what ended up being the last restart. And all you had to do really at that point, because passing is tough, was just make everybody else behind you kind of arrow awkward, right? So you hit all your marks, you did everything right, and you was able to find victory lane here in the last race of the season.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like it sucks that it came with the last race of the season. Obviously, I would have wanted more wins throughout the season and not just race through the playoffs on points, but I'm happy that I got that win. But yeah, I was by like lap 15. I think when we start the green going into the first corner, I was already sweating. My heart was beating. I have my Apple Watch on. It's like, it looks like you're running. I'm like, no, I'm just sitting here.
Yeah, I mean, just take us through those last, what would have been, I think it was 13, 15 laps for that last restart, right? Knowing that you're the control car, you elected to take the outside there, it looked like. And yeah, just take us through those moments, right? And through those remaining 13, 15 laps at the last restart, take us through those moments and ultimately, what it felt like and what it means to get this victory.
Yeah, it was. I mean, coming to that green, I chose the outside just because for a majority of the race, for some reason, I was really weak or lacking momentum going through the tunnel turn. So I was making up all the ground that I would lose going into turn 1 and turn 4 or turn 3.5, whatever you want to call it here at the triangle. But so going into turn 1, I would brake really late and just slam just basically like do a little bump tap to get the ass end of the car around and just keep going. But there was a couple of times when I saw Kinsley and Christopher coming up behind me, and I got a little nervous because I would watch the little ticker on the side. It would say like Kinsley's behind me 5 seconds, and then it'd go to 7, and all of a sudden it's 2. So every time my heartbeat kept going and going and going. But towards the end, I saw Kinsley trying to do like a weird little, almost like a little dive bomb, and I got I have a little bad blow with Kinsley, jokingly, from the full distance race we did at the Indy. He put me in the wall on the last lap, so I told him I was going to do the same thing to him if he tried to make a move.
I mean, look, man, when it's the last race of the season, you're chasing a checkered flag, right? I mean, you were a playoff driver, here in Racers Elite. And so, find victory lane. And you had mentioned, you didn't want to do it 3 points, right? And so getting this win, right? You had Kinsley Smith behind you. You had, what would be series champion Christopher Pendell right behind you. Puffenberger was there. Teff was there, right? So you knew that you was in the mix. There was fast cars there. Now to get this victory, right? Forget about pointing yourself in. Now you're a winner here in Racers Elite in the next gen series.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, throughout the entire Racers Elite series, um, I have like maybe 2 wins now, 1 in the trucks and then 1 in the next gen. It's actually really cool.
I was just gonna say because you won in the trucks at Eldora there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Or Knoxville, whatever that dirt race was. Yeah.
Yep. I won it at Eldora, hugging the top lane the whole time. Kinsley, a couple of my teammates were actually helping me because I don't know nothing about dirt. I grew up racing on asphalt on a little quarter mile in San Bernardino, California. So I was learning as I was going. So they were kind of teaching me between Kinsley and Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. I haven't seen him in forever. He used to drive the 13 car. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm grateful to be able to be here. There's a lot of good drivers in here, and it's nice to know that I can keep up with the majority of them. I mean, I saw Kinsley and Christopher coming up fast, so.
Well, listen, man, I'm certain that you probably have, friends, family, maybe some sponsors you'd like to shout out for tonight's victory here at Pocono, on Thursday night in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series. So, take the time to shine, man, and give them shout outs and enjoy this victory.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I want to thank Andrew for being able to host all these races. I know it probably gets monotonous doing it over and over again every single week. Want to give a huge shout out to the Hunter Lopez Foundation on the hood of the car. He was a very important person for my first duty station, so I got to personally know him. So I'm grateful that his family lets me run his company his logo on the hood of the car in the Mission 22. I have to give a huge shout out to my family, my wife and daughter, for putting up with me doing these races every Tuesdays and Thursdays and the occasional Sunday.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, congratulations on that victory. Go celebrate with the wife and daughter and enjoy this win, man. And we hope to see you for season 9 here in 2 weeks when we roll into Kentucky.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
And Russ, that's race winner Alex Gates. And let me tell you something, right? If you're Alex and I look at this and he said it right now, he knows that he can run up front with the fast guys, right? It felt good to him to be able to be up there with, Kinsley Smith, Christopher Pendell, our series champion, Hoke, Teft, Puffenberger right there, so first of all, that's just going to be a whole realm of momentum, but a lot of confidence built exiting tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, it's a huge confidence builder moving into next season in 2 weeks. So, I mean, I've seen the 77 run strong, it tracks all season long. And, I knew he would get his breakthrough at some point, if not this season, next season. But definitely good to see Alex pick up the win here tonight and finally get that little bit of a monkey off his back. Like he said, I mean, I remember, I think we were calling the race that Alex won in the truck series. I think me and John were calling that race at the dirt track there at Eldora, and he said he didn't know much about dirt, but I remember watching that race and calling that race, and it looked like he was the road course ringer of dirt during that race, because it was just like nobody had anything for him. So I mean, definitely another one of those ones where you put that time into the sim, you can really learn a lot. And he's got it done here now this season, putting the Cup Series win under his belt, and we'll see what he brings next season.
We will do that here in 2 weeks when we roll in, but we got one more interview to do, so we're going to bring in Kinsley. Kinsley, it's Brandon and Russ up in the booth.
How's it going?
It's going good. Now, before Russ gets into the interview, I have to say real quick, I have to put this out there. The driver of the Monster Java Mean Bean Machine, Kinsley Smith. I just had to say it because it rolled so well at the beginning of the race. I just had to do it again.
Yeah, I was thinking that before we got going. I was like, I can call this thing the Mean Bean Machine.
Well, it was definitely a little on the mean side tonight. I mean, you showed a lot of speed, pretty much throughout the entire race. Take us back and run us through your race and what kind of mentality you had coming in here tonight to Pocono.
Usually I do good here. So first thoughts of it was just do what I normally do, and usually I'm always at the front fighting for the lead here at Pocono. So it's really what I did off the start. I decided just lay back, let everybody burn their stuff up, and come back through later in the run. I was definitely a whole lot better on the long run. So after that first caution came out, I was kind of iffy about everything because it turned into a short run fest. So, but I mean, I still did good and still was able to come out with P2. So.
Yeah, I mean, we saw you kind of running the 77 down there. I mean, do you think it had anything for him if you had any, say another 5 laps? Do you think you would have had anything for the 77, or were your tires pretty much? I mean, I know you and the 77 were pretty much on the same tire set strategy, but I mean, do you think in another 5 laps you would have had anything for him?
If I didn't have to hold everybody off, I could have got him. Chris, I started getting into my groove, and every time I would get into my groove and get comfortable in my line, Chris would peek his nose under me and mess me up. So once I was able to have a lap without Chris peeking to my inside, I was able to start gaining some time on him. But yeah, if I didn't have to hold off Chris, then I'm almost certain I could have got him. I probably wouldn't have passed him. Didn't want to. That's teammate, so I didn't want to put the whole win or P2 in jeopardy by messing up a corner or something and taking him out or anything like that. So.
Well, I mean, it's the teammate thing to do, but we all know that you like to go out and win these races. You're probably one of the more winning drivers here in the series. So looking ahead to next season, what are you bringing to the table next season? You coming back again and running?
Of course. Started my league racing here, still league racing here, been here since season 1. So, of course, Andrew does great at all these things, and I can't thank Andrew enough for putting this whole thing on, all the races we do, everything. He I don't know how he does it, so I'm gonna stick with him and run these races for next season. I'm going to run more races next season, get myself in the playoffs, and have a championship myself.
I was just gonna say, I think that was more of where I was going with that question. Was I know you've been you've had some things going on in your personal life, not able to race quite as much as what you want to, but I think that's where I was going with it. Was you plan on running more, trying to contend for a championship?
Of course. Yeah. Like in Game of Thrones, winter is coming, so everything in life is slowing down a little bit. It's getting cold. Nobody wants to be outside. So, yeah, I'll be able to run a whole lot more races next season.
All right, man. Well, another solid finish for you here tonight, P2 at Pocono. We'll go ahead and turn it over to you to let you give your shout outs.
Of course, my wife and my daughter let me do this because sitting here for 2 hours 3 nights a week is kind of a big ask, especially for a relationship and for a marriage and everything. So thank you to my wife and my daughter for allowing me to do this. Andrew, like I said earlier, all the amazing work he does putting all this stuff on. Of course, you guys up in the booth, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a fun one to rewatch. And then my team, all my teammates driving Extreme Inc.
All right, brother. Well, I mean, we got next week off, but then the following week we're right back at it at Kentucky, and look forward to seeing you out there in 2 weeks, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, bud.
And that is our second place finisher tonight will be Kinsley Smith. And I'm excited, Russ, because he said the one thing I wanted to hear, and that's the fact he's going to be able to run more races and contend for a championship, hopefully to contend for a championship next season.
I mean, that's, the one thing that I've been, saying right along is Kinsley is always, one of them, forces to be reckoned with, and in this series and stuff. So, I mean, if he's got the opportunity to come out and be able to put some more races in next season, be able to, at the very least hit the league minimum, for races intended to be able to secure his spot in the playoffs and show up and run those 4 races. I really think that that Kinsley is going to be probably a force to be reckoned with for the championship next season. So look forward to being able to see him come out and contend for a championship next season.
Me as well. As you can see, the schedule is up there on the screen, race fans, and we're going to be off next week, where me and Russ will have us a short little vacation, and then we'll be right back here on Thursday nights, myself and Russ, with all the action from the Thursday night Next Gen Cup Series. And we're going to be kicking it off at Kentucky, and then we'll go to Vegas, Chicagoland, Watkins Glen. We'll have a weekend off, and then we'll hit the Gateway Auto Club Pocono, and then we want to everybody to enjoy Christmas and New Year's, where we'll return for one more race of the regular season at Atlanta, and then the playoffs and the chase will start. That will go New Hampshire, Kansas, Talladega, and Charlotte. For us, it's been an amazing season. I'm glad I've got to, be a part of the remaining 4 or 5 weeks here with you. I'm glad to have you as a partner. I'm happy and ecstatic going into next season. That means you're going to be the guys on call for Thursday night, and I'm pumped because that schedule looks a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a lot of fun getting to work with you here every week for the last so many weeks of the season, and looking forward to coming back in 2 weeks and calling next season all on next season with you. Like you said, it's a really interesting schedule for next season, so it should be a lot of fun. We should see some maybe fireworks, maybe I've been hearing some murmurs and seeing some things already after this race. Maybe bringing some fireworks into that first race of the season next year or next season. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Everybody out there watching, I just want to say thank you for tuning in week in, week out. Listen to us run our mouths and talk for 2 hours. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. And, if you're not already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to the Races Elite Network. We're here almost each and every night of the week, throwing up some kind of race, between Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, Friday nights. I mean, there's usually always something going on too. So, if you're looking for something to run, check us out, raceselite.com. We've got just about anything you want to run. So give us a shout, give us a follow, give us a like, and we'll see you guys next season in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.
We will see everybody in 2 weeks. And again, congratulations to our season 8 champion, Christopher Pendell. Everyone have a good night. We'll see you.